And one common example that we see all the time is with ADD or ADHD, which is that a lot of these kids, sure, there is ADHD and ADD and it exists, but true ADD and ADHD probably, is one of the most overdiagnosed and overprescribed for conditions nationwide, particularly in children, now also becoming more common in adults. And in large part, what we see when we work with these people is that, sure, a lot of people have attention issues, but is that because they've never actually been taught how to focus and concentrate over extended periods of time? Or is it because they actually have something wrong with them, right? That they need a medication for. And so when you give a child a medication like Ritalin or Adderall, and you say, if you take this, you'll be able to focus. And I, the doctor or the parent, I'm recommending this to you from a position of authority. You're basically saying, from now on, you need this to achieve the same level of focus and concentration that the rest of us can do without medicine, which puts them into a mindset that there's something wrong with them. And ultimately, what's wrong is they've never been taught how to focus or concentrate. You wouldn't expect somebody to know how to drive a car or a plane if they had never been taught, right? You'd teach them, and then you would give them extensive training, and then they would learn how to do it. You wouldn't just say, take this pill and now you'll learn how to fly a plane, right? So the idea is that we have to change the way we're talking about medicine and the way it's used and the way it works from this will cure you to this is a teacher that can teach you through experience of how to concentrate and how to focus. When you take this medicine will show you what it feels like to concentrate, right? It'll show you what it feels like to focus on something for an extended period of time that normally would totally bore you and lead you to go wander off to do something else. This medicine will show you what it feels like to do that. Apollo works in a similar way, right? Like calming the body in a situation of stress, it reminds us that we are safe enough to be able to make decisions from a standpoint of strength rather than weakness and fear. And then all of a sudden, we're retraining our brains to be able to focus and be able to relax or sleep at times where we would otherwise be perceiving threat from our environment. And it shows us that we can do it through what's called experiential learning. And then all of a sudden, we know that we can do it because we've seen ourselves do it. And that starts a positive feedback loop over time, which retrains the brain.
Yeah, I love that. I love that way of putting it. And especially when it comes to kids, man, I have to say, learning how to deal with adversity as a child is I really think is one of the number one things you have to learn. It's great to understand this is what it's like to focus, but then this is what it's like to succeed. Like we all have to have that. We all have to be winners. We all have to learn that we can win and we can achieve that and we can focus and we can concentrate. But kids are afraid to fail, and the parents, and it's not even maybe they consciously afraid to fail. They just don't. They don't want that feeling of failure, and the parents don't want that feeling of failure. So I grew up in the generation, maybe the first generation, one of the first generations of kids using Ritalin, with attention deficit disorder. And back then, it was just attention deficit disorder. It was not attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. That was like a whole other thing.
Right.
My mom said I was hyperactive. She never said you need a medication for it. It was just me being a kid and being kind of crazy and probably a little bit too much sugar. But these kids now, or I shouldn't say now, but they're taking the medication because now they're being taught medication is how you focus. And then they grow up and now it's always going to be a medication is how you do X. And I really believe like all of the adults now that are in my age group who have real bad substance abuse problems and addictions or who are recovering from that were kids who were introduced to that model of getting the medication early to do the thing.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that is a contributor. And I was talking to some folks about this the other day. I think it's hard to say if there's any one medicine or one practice that resulted in people having this mindset of I can just take this pill and feel better, or I can just, have this instant gratification thing that I can just take or do this and from the outside, take this thing, put it in my body and I'll feel better. But I think it's everything all at once, right? It's everything from being told that a pill can do that for you rather than being told that this pill can help you learn a skill that you're able to do on your own, but the pill is a way to help you learn.